Evening, everybody. How was your weekend? It is a Monday today, although I've sort of forgotten which day it is. They're all sort of the same at the moment. But anyway, the weather's still pretty good. It's a bit hot here in Australia. Interesting topic I'm going to talk about is regulations and authority. This book itself was written a long time ago, but it really has a connection with what's happening here in society at the moment. Just the regulations and the lockdown that everyone's having to adhere to at the moment. So some people find it a little bit difficult. Here in Australia, a lot of people still go out quite a lot. I mean, I go and play golf, I go to the beach. I am very sensible about social distancing and making sure that I am trying to stay as safe as possible and not interrupt anyone else or get near anyone else. So I'll give you a read of this and then we'll go over a few of these words. Dear colleague, as you are probably aware, the government has recently passed new laws relating to health and safety in the workplace. These new regulations have been introduced to standardize procedure in workplaces across the country and ensure that employers adhere to standards. The enclosed guide details the steps you need to take in order to comply with these new laws. All employers have an obligation to carry out a risk assessment. Failure to do so will leave us in breach of the law. The purpose of the risk assessment is to minimize danger to employees and also to make it easier for employers to satisfy the requirements of the regulations. All department heads have an obligation to read the information in the guide carefully. Please do so, and if you have any further questions, I'll be happy to answer them. A little bit different to what is happening at the moment, but for example, comply with the new laws, which means you have to follow the law, right? Comply with something. To carry out means to do. To carry out a risk assessment. So you have to assess the situation for how dangerous it's going to be. Minimize danger. Obviously, try to reduce the possibility of something bad going wrong. Satisfy the requirements. Again, this is doing what is asked of you. If you have an obligation, it's something that you must do. In breach of the law is to do something that the law says you shouldn't do. Adhere to standards. Again, to do what you are asked to do. Introduce a procedure and to standardize a procedure, right? And the other one, to pass a law, is to bring in a new law and then people obviously follow it, but the law has to go through certain procedures to go into society. Like I said, it's pretty much what's happening here at the moment. Lots of new rules. People have to adhere to what is asked of them, trying to minimize danger, trying to minimize the effects of the virus going around. So it does sound a little bit difficult, this reading, but just go over it, look at the collocations and the vocabulary, and you'll realize if you watch the news in English, you'll hear a lot of these expressions. So I think it'll be quite useful for you. Like usual, if you want to have a chat about this, send me a message. We can go over it and you can practice using these words in a natural situation. Have a good evening. Peace.